Yes, today the fundamental analysis and also technical analysis of the Australian dollar, especially Australian dollar against the US dollar and against the Canadian dollar on Tuesday, 7th of December 2021. And that's the reason we make this special video, because of very common questions how to trade the Australian dollar or Aussie keep in the upcoming days. Strengthening of the Australian dollar, because up to now there are no crucial fundamentals factor. So the trend over 10% against major counterparts. So the currency keeps depreciating, and traders are more and more curious about the future tendency. The panic will come along. In my previous video of yesterday, I have mentioned also some main fundamental and also technical psychological facts. The analysis of the Commodity Future Trading Commission, the CFTC, displays that the net short positioning of the US dollar is clear down, and it's clear that shorts of the Australian dollar prevail. Also important is to know what factors pull the Australian dollar down. The first and major reason of the Australian dollar weakness is trade wars. First of all, the Australian dollar is considered as the risky currency. Traders will never invest in such currencies in times of uncertainty. Secondly, the trade war affects the Chinese economy. China is the main trade partner of Australia, and problems in the Chinese economy will affect the trade relations between these two currencies. Furthermore, a risk of sentiment that pulls the Asian stock market down affects the currency a lot. Any violations, for example, in the stock market is reflected in the depreciation of the Australian dollar too. The second reason is the policy of the Reserve Bank of Australia, RBA. According to the central bank, the declining Australian dollar helps improve economic growth, hiring, exports, and wages, and therefore the rate hike is planned not earlier than next week, the next year, especially in times of coronavirus. So the third reason is economic data that are highly volatile and differ from time to time. For example, the last jobs data that were released in October were mixed, as a result that the Australian dollar fell. What can change the Australian dollar downtrend is the next question, and it's early to talk about the strengthening of the Australian dollar because up to now there are no crucial fundamental factors that may become drivers for the Australian currency. And if only the US dollar plunges significantly, the Australian dollar will get a chance to turn the situation in its favor. Moreover, an improvement in the trade dispute may boost the Australian currency. However, there are no clues that these factors will occur soon. Having a look out the market, we are still short, with a good profit still now in the market in Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar. Also the fact that Canada is the fourth major oil producer, and that the oil prices are climbing up again is the next fact that Australian dollar is weakening again against the US dollar. We are still short in this market. Our stop is still at 0.71135, and if we look now, Australian dollar against the Swiss franc is gaining because the fear of the Omicron is becoming less. So Australian dollar against the Swiss franc is long. Our stop loss is at 0.64816. And it's interesting to see also the value of the Australian dollar against some Asian currencies, mixed currencies, for example, Singapore dollar, that here the Australian dollar is gaining weight again. Our stop loss is at 0.96197. So we are long in Australian dollar against Singapore dollar. We are short against Canada. Australian dollar against Swiss is long. And interesting is also that the fact Australian dollar against the New Zealand dollar is gaining weight again. We are still long in the market, and our stop loss is at 1.04017. Have a good day.